In this video, I'm going to beat the Ender Dragon in hardcore Minecraft with just my fist. The first thing that I'm going to need if I want to survive in this world is tools and armor. This is hardcore after all, and if I die once, that's it. The world is over. The first step along the way was to go into a cave where I could get iron tools and armor. While I was smelting my armor, a creeper snuck up on me, almost killing me only a few minutes into this world. I then moved on and found diamonds, and then shortly after that went and gathered obsidian, before I could start my search for a village. So here's the game plan. Now that I have basic tools and iron armor, I want to find a village in a plains biome and set up a starter base. Once I found the village, I mined out a small area where I could build a day 1 iron farm to get me infinite iron for the rest of this world. Although digging this farm required me to mine loads of dirt and destroy an entire village house, the iron from the farm should last me a very long time. Then, I gathered the resources to actually build the farm, which only took a couple of minutes. With the resources gathered and area mined out, I finished the farm in only a few days, and now had infinite iron. After building the iron farm, I put a few villagers in a pit with beds to start the breeding process. While I was waiting for the villagers to breed, I gathered a couple of cows and a couple of sheep and built a pen for each of them as well, so that I could have infinite wool and food easily accessible. Now that I had the basic starter base set up, I traded with villagers and got a maxed armorer and toolsmith villager, allowing me to have infinite diamond armor for just a couple of emeralds. After I got diamond tools and armor, I went out exploring and got the necessary materials to make an enchantment table. I built the enchantment table and enchanted a few of my tools and armor, giving me efficiency 4 and protection 3 on most of my gear. With my better gear, I decided to loot a trial chamber so that I could get a mace, which would be a powerful weapon for daily combat. Because I was in hardcore, the trial chamber was incredibly dangerous, and I only had 1 life. Luckily, I was able to clutch up and beat the trial chamber, and only got close to dying once or twice. Then I used my ominous keys to loot the chamber and got a mace on only my 3rd vault, which was insanely lucky. Now that I had better gear and had looted a trial chamber, I was ready to go to the nether. In the nether, I needed 3 things: blaze rods, ender pearls, and a netherite upgrade. If I could get all 3 of these without dying, I would be ready to head back to the overworld and beat the game. The first item on my list was blaze rods, and luckily, I had spotted a fortress as soon as I spawned into the nether, which I quickly bridged over to. I fought a few blazes and used my looting sword to get 20 blaze rods with ease. I then moved on and explored until I found a treasure bastion. Inside the treasure bastion, there was a guaranteed chance of getting a netherite upgrade, but I also found a few ancient debris and tons of gold when I looted it. Directly next to the bastion was a warped forest where I killed a ton of endermen until I got 16 ender pearls, which would be enough to find the fortress and a few extras for emergencies. Now that I have everything, the last step of the plan is to figure out how I'm actually going to beat the dragon with just my fist. I could just attempt to brute force the dragon, but that would be suicide, since without a water bucket or armor, 1 hit from the dragon would send me flying sky high with no way to save myself. Because of these risks, I decided that I would attempt to break the game in a few different ways. The first issue was that the dragon would out-heal any damage I did to it, since my fists are so weak. One way to solve this was to get it far away from the end crystals to heal it, but although I could get it far away, I couldn't make it stay away. Freezing in place high in the sky was the only option, so I found a method to freeze the dragon 150 blocks in the air, where, if I was incredibly careful, I could then beat it to death with my fist. I'm still doing this with no armor and just my fist, so it's incredibly dangerous. Now that I had a game plan, I gathered a few resources, such as gunpowder for rockets and golden apples for safety, before beginning my trip to the end. I prepared my inventory for the end and threw my first Eye of Ender. After only a few eyes thrown, I found the stronghold and looked around for the portal, finding some good loot along the way, where, once I found the portal, I put all my items in the ender chest, except for food and blocks, and was ready to enter the end. Once in the end, I would need to be incredibly careful, since if I made 1 wrong move, the dragon wouldn't freeze, and I would die and lose everything. I entered the end, pillared up, and performed the glitch successfully, freezing the dragon in the sky. However, this wasn't over. I had frozen the dragon, but it could still hit me. If I wasn't positioned right, I would be hit off to my death. I had a couple of close calls, but eventually got into the correct position, and was able to attack the dragon with my fist. This took about 20 minutes to do because not only is the player really weak, but about 97% of attacks miss their target. However, even with these issues, the dragon eventually died, and I could happily collect the dragon egg as my reward.